Hey there, thank you very much for being back. It took me a day just to, relax into this, feeling in the mood. I've been going through many changes. My partner just went over to the UK, and well, I stayed in Peru. And so from here, I'm just currently staying in a town called Calca in the Sacred Valley, which is very beautiful. And well, I'm very grateful and appreciative of the opportunities that come from your support as well, from just tuning in to my updates, to um, get my readings as well. The services that we're offering. I offer three main services: the energy snapshot, energy revolution, and shadow tracing, which are all different ways to expand and getting getting deep um, with whatever it is that you might be currently experiencing. And so the other offer is Tarot Code, which is a joint service that I have with my partner Alice. And well, it's a 45-minute reading in which, while I'm reading, while I'm in a session, she's drawing an energetic code, an energetic frequency in the form of a symbolic representation of whatever it is that transpires during the reading. So be sure to check that on the link that I have on my bio. And well, if anything, just throw me a DM. I'm here to reply. So back to the reading. I was saying in the 3 minute reel or 3 minute reading before. On the back of the deck, I have the King of Swords, and so King of Swords in this case, uh, comes with that energy of just flattering, political correctness, being afraid of saying what is exactly that you're thinking, what you're perceiving, how you're feeling about things. It's like how you're maybe holding back on whatever it is that you feel that you need to say, just not to, I don't know, maybe create some disturbance or starting an uncomfortable conversation, or just like I said before, keeping with the status quo of things, because sometimes it's just easier, maybe, just to keep on looking at things in the same way, from the same perspective. And so, this time the lesson is just that, like how are we continuing to just feed the same story, feed the same narrative into things, with everything that is happening in the world. It's like I usually, well, before I started just doing these readings, I was following as well what is happening in Palestine and Gaza, and just seeing right now how awful that is. It's like how awful it is that people have to die in such a way, dying of hunger. People collapsing on the streets because they have nothing to drink, nothing to eat. That's just wrong. And you can call me righteous, I don't mind. But the idea is that, it's like if you are suffering individually, just in your own personal experience, what happens when you see, when you think that that's one of your family members, when you think that that's your loved one, a person that you care about, and you see them collapsing on the street out of hunger. So that look of disdain, that look of contempt, just for some people, that because they're so far away that it's apparently okay for them to be suffering in this way. So I'm just using the example of what's going on right there, because that's the extreme manifestation of what happens, you know, in our homes as well. Sometimes we let things go on, we let things happen, we let disrespect happen in our own homes. We let, offenses, just people, um, yeah, just disregarding completely any act of um, just empathy. Try to connect with another person in their own feelings. Trying to acknowledge that what they're going through, even if you can't quite put yourself in their shoes, is something that is affecting them in one way or another. And it all starts from home. So if you're still having some sort of disconnecting, um, like perpetuating some kind of disconnected behavior, like either not letting other people in, and you're being so closed into yourself that you just feel maybe safer in your own head, trying to think things as you would probably, just feel that it is. I don't know. Some people have that thought that or that belief that they cannot do anything. That like no matter what happens to others, like well, it's like I cannot do anything. So why am I gonna even think about it? Why am I even gonna put it in my face if it is something that even constantly day by day I keep on ignoring except like directly like my thoughts about a person, my thoughts about a situation, and it's just not right. That we just feel so consumed and so exhausted, feeling that there's no way out. People are just starting to have like such a cruel perspective of the future for humanity, for this world, that we're just doomed to, just kill each other, and let other people die, just always in terms of, what's best for me, it's like I don't care as long as my loved ones are okay, but then sometime in some other point it's gonna be your turn, you know, death will also come to you. And sometimes death comes when you're still alive, if you're still not pursuing something in the hopes of, just creating a new humanity, creating a new world. It's just pay attention while you just contemplate and keep on feeding in your own home. It's like what type of food you're consuming, what type of information you're entertaining. It's like it is a moment for reflection in this sense of how much of yourself are you acknowledging and validating as true without having any other person tell you, yeah, you should talk about that. You know, we should all talk about what's going on. Because at some point, yeah, we can try and keep on building our businesses and keep on amassing loads of money, but then what's going to happen? At the end of the day, you will have to provide for your own. You will have to provide for yourself. And that comes first by providing to the heart so the mind is at peace. I hope that helps. Make sure to subscribe, give it a like, and also be sure to share. Also remember that you can look at all my information in the link in the description or in my bio, whatever it is that you're looking. Thank you very much for everything. See you next time.